Good morning and welcome to Sri Lanka Morning Show. Ayubowan.
මිනිපිරීට අවස්ථාවක් දුන්න නිසා මුණු පුරාට අවස්ථාවක් දුන්නේ නැත්නම් ඒක අපි කාටවත් හොඳ නැහැ. අපිටත් ප්‍රේක්ෂකයන්ටත් කරන අසාධාරණයක් වේවි. ඒ නිසා අපි මුණු පුරාටත් කතා කරමු මීළඟ ගීතයට. ඔහුගේ වාදන හැකියාවන් වාදන කෞශල්‍ය එක් කරන්න කියා. මේ උවින්දු වීරසිංහ.
Ayubowan My name is Dr. Sam Dasanayaka. I am an Ayurvedic doctor practicing in Melbourne. And today in this Ayurvedic segment, we would like to bring you very useful information with regards to your well-being. Now, Ayurveda has a treatment called Abhyanga. Now, Abhyanga breaking down is oil Abhyanga. There are separate very specific oils for different issues. Now, regardless of whether you have an issue or not, it is important for anyone to do the Abhyanga. Now, Abhyanga is so important in many aspects. Now, even if you are a good sportsman, even if you are having a very sedentary lifestyle, even if you are suffering from arthritis or any other disease for that matter, Abhyanga is a must that everyone should do at least once a month. What is this? We will select the oils when you come to the clinic, and a therapist will be allocated and they will start doing the Abhyanga. First, the application of oil in your scalp. Now, that will unblock and that will release the mucus congestion. You have to sit down and think. This is a common practice in Sri Lanka and India and Southeast Asia to frequently put oil in your scalp. That will help your eyes, that will help your hair growth, that will release the mucus, and that will help you not to have migraine type of headaches ever. But when was the last time you have done it? So, Abhyanga, we will start from there. Release the neck muscles, help your cervical flow. Spinal flow is very important. From cervical to the thoracic to the lumbar, the spine has to stretch and move. If spine shows tension, that can lead to spondylosis, degenerative issues. So, you need to stretch the spine, you need to make sure the flexibility of the spine is maintained, and then circulation and muscle toning. Circulation is important, circulation is everything. Circulation will bring blood to do repair, for maintain joints, cartilage, ligaments, muscles, very important. And the muscles will have lactic acid build up if you have not done a Abhyanga. So, when was the last time you have had a therapist doing an Abhyanga? I mean, a lot of people go for different type of massages and treatments, but do they use oil? Do they use therapeutic oils for that matter? So, every individual have a different body constitution. And depending on that, depending on your age, depending on your ailments, we will select the oil. And then unblocking the channels. Many a times our diet consists of lot of preservatives, loaded with preservatives, and these preservatives are not going to be broken down. They will stay and stagnant and block certain channels in the body, especially your lymphatic system. So, that is why there is a treatment called lymphatic drainage, Vasa Paddhati Avirvima, that will give you swelling, that can give you varicose veins, that can give you pain and inflammation. You can have shoulder bursitis, you can have inflammation in your leg, you can have plantar fasciitis. All these things are lining up. So, better to do a Abhyanga, get yourself stretched, get your muscles to breathe, remove the lactic acid build up, improve circulation, and you will feel 100 times better than you stepped into the treatment room, because afterwards there will be a sweating process, Pinda Sweda and Bashpa Sweda. Pinda Sweda is that we will use pottery and touch your acupressure points. Bashpa Swedana is that you will sweat, relieving and discharging all the toxins. So, I hope you will get this advice and make some arrangements, but until we meet again, Ayubowan.
Welcome back to another episode of The Fascinating World of Birds. Today, we are joined with Chanith, who will be discussing a new bird species with us. So, Chanith, what bird species will you be talking about today?
Well, today I'll be talking about one of my personal favourite birds, the white-faced heron.
That's a new bird for me. Would you mind elaborating a bit more on this bird species?
Sure, so this species it's a heron, so they fly with an S-shaped neck. They have it sort of curved their neck as well. You'll notice it has a long neck, a sort of grey body, and as the name suggests, a white face. Its bill is quite long as well, like a spear, which is because that's what herons use to impale their prey.
And what do these birds like to eat?
Well, the white-faced heron takes frogs, small invertebrates, and fish. You'll often see them feeding at bodies of water, but not always. At my old high school, you would sometimes run into one in the ovals.
Of course. In Melbourne, whereabouts would you be able to locate one of these bird species?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, this is quite a common bird. Basically anywhere that has water probably has some amount of white-faced herons. A lot of parkland has white-faced herons, but major wetlands as well are generally teeming with them.
Are there different species of herons, and how similar or different are they from each other?
The main bird you might confuse it with is the white-necked heron. While the white-faced heron is a very common species everywhere, the white-necked heron is what we call an eruptive bird, which means that sometimes you won't see them at all, and sometimes when conditions are right, you'll see them everywhere. The white-necked heron, however, as the name suggests, has an entirely white head and neck, and the body, as opposed to the sort of slaty grey of the white-faced heron, is a dark blackish-bluish grey.
Would the field guide that you mentioned in one of our earlier segments help with identifying these birds?
Yes, absolutely, and it would have better pictures than my description.
How would you describe the behaviour of the white-faced heron?
Well, I find herons fascinating to watch because they hunt in such an enjoyable to watch way. You see, a lot of herons have two main methods of hunting. The first method involves sort of slowly stalking through a body of water, watching the ground beneath them, seeing if they flush anything, and then if anything moves, that's it. The second method is the heron just sort of sits in one place, silently watching, waiting, and then eventually, at any movement, it lunges forward with its bill, thrusting like a spear, and then takes the fish, or whatever it's eating at the time, and gulps it down.
Well, Chanith, that was a very fascinating observation and description that will be very useful for our viewers at home. With that, we'd like to thank you again for providing your knowledge and insights to our program today.
Well, thank you for having me again.
That brings us to the end of this week's segment. Join us again on next episode, where we'll be discussing yet another fascinating bird species. Thank you.
Sanji Caldera Associates. With our headquarters based in Melbourne, Australia, you can locate our branch offices in Sri Lanka, Dubai, Canada and London, UK. Some of our services include skilled migration visa, family migration visa, employer sponsorship visa, temporary resident visa, business visa, tourist visa, student visa, administrative appeals tribunal review. Pursuit of excellence through tailored solutions.
Sandakada Pahana, Melbourne. A night of Sunil Edrisingha's timeless melodies.
Saturday, the 7th of June 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Robert Blackwood Hall, Clayton.
The science of life, traditionally known as the Ayurveda. Consultations, diagnosis and treatments are done by fully qualified Ayurvedic practitioner Dr. Sam Dasanai. Sahandro Ayurvedic Center, best wellness experience.
Abacus Solar, latest and reliable solar systems, world best panels and inverters, price beat guarantee, supervised system installation, excellent after sales service. Call 1300 852 843.
Looking to buy a new hose reel but confused over quality? And you want to buy a locally made hose reel? Look for the genuine Australian made AK Reels hose reels. Heavy duty Australian design and patent. Using Australian made hoses that last. By AK Reels, the Australian made hose reels.
News Weekly is brought to you by Elsdan, a trimmer company, the hose specialist.
Esdan Plastics Proprietary Limited, 525 to 527 Hammond Road, Dandenong South. Hello again, everybody. We're back again with Dr. Indra Jayasuriya, who is an eminent endocrinologist and a leading consultant physician in Australia. Dr. Indra Jayasuriya, welcome back to the program, because we've last week, or perhaps about a week or two ago, we discussed endocrinology, what exactly endocrinology is, and you also gave us some insight on diabetes. We'd like to continue the subject of diabetes this time as well. Now, you did speak about the two types of diabetes earlier. You told us about, how serious it is, and of course, it is not something that we could take too lightly, but of course, you did say that the diet can be controlled and, used correctly for the treatment of diabetes. How can you, go ahead with that and tell us a little more about it?
Okay, thanks, Doreen, asking that question. So if we recap in last time, I said that we can be a little bit flexible with the diet, and but in overall we have to be very vigilant with the diet. So I'm sure someone with diabetes, their physician or their dietitian who specialize in diets have given ample advices, and also the things available on the internet, and also the websites of the major hospitals such as Monash Medical Center. So they can get what is good, what is not good. That means what we should consume moderately or less with the diabetes. Particularly when it comes to diabetes, starch, we call carbohydrate, we should be consuming less. Particularly our part of the world, generally people tend to eat a lot of rice. And there are various type of rice we recommend, basmati rice, red rice, and some type of Sri Lankan brands they can buy from the shops. But again, if you have a diabetes, it's not equivalent that you cannot have rice. As I mentioned last time, you can have rice, but small quantities. We usually say, contrary to what we practice, like having a large amount of rice with a small amount of vegetable on your plate. So I would normally say maybe have 1/4 or less rice in your plate with lots of green color vegetables. Yeah? And then it's very important if you're going to have rice, so make sure you not eat potatoes and starch vegetables, potatoes, pumpkins, sweet potatoes and things. So if you're having a rice, then make sure the rest of your plate is full of green vegetables and maybe 1/4 meat or fish.
So what you mean is potatoes and any, any kind of vegetable like that is not so good. Potatoes
with the combination with the rice.
Right.
Yes.
So if you just have, for example, mashed potato and beef and vegetables, that's all right.
That's fine. Like if you want going to have mashed potato or roast potatoes, you can have like 1/4 of plate or less with that. And again, maybe half, green
with
vegetables. And then the other quarter could be meat or fish. Yeah. So I think, and also if you are going to have rice type of meals, it's probably better to have during the day, because then you do physical activities like walking and incidental activities as well. So generally, for the night meal, we would recommend like a protein and the vegetables.
Now, talking about meats, are there any particular meats that are better suited for diabetic patients, or?
Not that I know of. All meat contains protein and fat. So we generally say if you're going to use, just have meat without fat, so the lean. But then some meats like pork has less fat compared to provided that you take the fat bit off. So the less fat because it's more leaner, and the chicken without the
it's
skin.
Kind of a
white meat,
pork.
exactly right, Nolene. Yeah.
But then pork has a lot of fat in it.
But you have to make sure you take it off. Yeah, so, yeah.
Right. So then any kind of meat is all right, but taken in, you know, right. Now, doctor, I've also heard that taking small meals, we won't say breakfast, lunch, dinner, but having small meals throughout the day is better than taking breakfast, lunch and dinner. Is that right?
Yes, very difficult question to answer because in my practice, we usually recommend people to have 3 main meals in small quantities with less carbohydrate, but then so you can have in between maybe like morning tea, afternoon tea, if you want to have the fruit or nuts or like dairy products such as yogurt, you can have it. But then when we say fruits, you have to be very careful because the fruit always have a good name, so they got a natural sugar. But
what are the fruits that you can recommend for diabetics?
Yeah, so we normally, particularly, I mean, the fruits has to be part of our diet because which give us, essential nutrients and the vitamins and things. So it is essential to have fruits. But again, with the diabetic, we have to be careful because certain fruits raises the sugar. So we normally recommend maybe not to have 2 to 3 fruits, not to have more than 2 to 3 fruits a day. Then you can basically have them for your morning tea, afternoon tea, and then not probably limited amount of things like mangoes, particularly when the mango season comes, the Asians' blood sugar goes up.
Yes.
Banana and pineapple, grapes. Grapes has a very high sugar. So usually the fruits sweet, they have a high sugar, and then usually the fruits from the tropical countries tend to have a high sugar.
Well, let's take watermelon, for example.
Watermelon, sorry, I forgot to mention that watermelon has a very high content of sugar. Yeah? Again, I mean, you can enjoy. So if you're going to have mango, so maybe have a half a mango, not like 2 or 3. And then if you're going to have a watermelon, not every day, maybe if you want to have like once a week or something, maybe have a very small thin slice.
But of course, the mangoes that are, the fruits that are available in Australia, for instance, are not the same as in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So what would you say about the Australian fruits? Now there are like apples and pears.
Stone fruits like nectarine and peaches and things, you can have them. Again, if they are large ones, so we recommend usually 1. If they are very small ones, you can have 2. Green apple is better. Again, not to have more than 1 apple a day. And then if you can have a combination of 2 to 3 fruits a day.
What about pears?
Yeah, the half-ripe pears is good when the fruits get pulled ripe, so they have more sugar.
Now, of course, in Australia there are many berries like strawberries, blueberries, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's
a
good question because berries has a very low content of sugar, so we usually recommend berries is good for you. Yeah, again, not like whole punnet of strawberries, maybe quarter to half a punnet, and blueberries and things they have quite less sugar.
So thank you very much once again, Dr. Jayasuriya, for giving us an insight into, today we talked about the diet and especially, fruits and the rice, which is carbohydrates, and you in fact mentioned that carbohydrates are a bit too much for diabetics.
That's right.
And so we have to control that. For diabetics, if we want to control our blood sugar, then we have to think of controlling our intake of carbohydrates. So thank you, Doctor, for joining us. We'll meet again very soon, and we are hoping to continue these discussions with Dr. Indra Jayasuriya, who is an eminent endocrinologist and a leading consultant physician in Australia. Thank you for joining us.
Looking to buy a new hose reel but confused over quality, and you want to buy a locally made hose reel? Look for the genuine Australian-made AK Reels hose reels. Heavy-duty Australian design and patent, using Australian-made hoses that last. By AK Reels, the Australian-made hose reels.
Abacus Solar, latest and reliable solar systems, world best panels and inverters, price beat guarantee, supervised system installation, excellent after sales service. Call 1300 852 843.
Sandakada Pahana, Melbourne. A night of Sunil Edrisinghe's timeless melodies.
Saturday, the 7th of June 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Robert Blackwood Hall, Clayton.
Sanji Caldera Associates. With our headquarters based in Melbourne, Australia, you can locate our branch offices in Sri Lanka, Dubai, Canada and London, UK. Some of our services include skilled migration visa, family migration visa, employer sponsorship visa, temporary resident visa, business visa, tourist visa, student visa, administrative appeals tribunal review. Pursuit of excellence through tailored solutions.
The science of life, traditionally known as the Ayurveda. Consultations, diagnosis and treatments are done by fully qualified Ayurvedic practitioner Dr. Sam Dasanai. Sahandro Ayurvedic Centre, best wellness experience.
The segment that promotes Sri Lankan culture, diversity, nature and heritage is proudly sponsored by Prestige Wardrobe and Shower Screens. So we bring you a special segment to promote Sri Lanka. A special thank you to Sandra and Estrid Jackson for providing us with this segment.
Sri Lanka is an amazing travel destination offering a wide range of places to visit. This island, located in the Indian Ocean off the coast of India, presents visitors with an incredible array of environments and tourist attractions to enjoy and experience. Travellers can trace the island's fascinating history, from ancient times through the colonial period to the present, in cities like Colombo and Kandy. This relatively compact island boasts 8 UNESCO World Heritage Sites where that history is preserved. Incredible outdoor landscapes and safari experiences can be found in the country's large elephant and leopard-filled national parks like Yala, Minaria and Undawalawe. Sri Lanka is also a beach lover's paradise, ringed by some of the world's most beautiful beaches and home to a number of luxury beach resorts. When planning a Sri Lankan adventure, keep in mind that the country experiences its rainy season from May through August, making December through April usually the best time to visit. The shoulder season, September, October and November, is a good time to visit as well. Plan your travel itinerary with our list of the best places to visit in Sri Lanka.
Good morning. My name is Professor Tissa Wijeratna. I am a neurologist from Melbourne, Australia. Thank you for watching. And we are meeting you again with another episode of Brain Health for All. I had a number of emails and number of social media contacts during last 2 weeks or so with a small video clip claimed by a neurosurgeon. I have no idea who that person is, but the video basically says that he is describing a self-test to diagnose Parkinson's disease and giving some wrong numbers also. You may have seen this video. He basically twists his fingers like this and then he asks you to do various maneuvers with your hands, and then he says that if you couldn't do this sort of movement number of times, that you are definitely either having Parkinson's disease or going to get Parkinson's disease. There is zero science behind this video, and I do want you to know that there's no Parkinson's self-diagnostic test as such. Parkinson's disease is a neurodegenerative disorder. By the time people developed movement-related symptoms of Parkinson's disease, either the stiffness or shaking or slowness of movement or gait abnormalities or postural abnormalities, these patients would have had the disorder for at least 15-20 years prior to develop those symptoms. By doing a simple test like this at home, you really can't diagnose or predict your risk of developing Parkinson's disease within the next 10, 15, 30 years. Even if you have a slowness in your hand movements, that may not be necessarily due to Parkinson's disease, as there are other reasons for slowness in movements in human body. Then how do we diagnose Parkinson's disease? Well, at the moment, the diagnostic criteria for Parkinson's disease need the examination by a Parkinson's expert and then demonstrating the classic physical signs of Parkinson's disease, at least a certain number of those signs. We call something as sign when a medical expert examine you and discover certain abnormalities through that examination. That's what a physical sign mean. Not only that, the examining physician or examining specialist need to make sure that these signs and symptoms are the things that you tell your doctor, cannot be explained by any other disorder other than Parkinson's disease. There's no bedside diagnostic test as such to diagnose Parkinson's disease by yourself or predicting whether you are going to get Parkinson's disease within the next 10 years or 20 years or 30 years. The correct diagnosis of Parkinson's disease need a physical examination by a Parkinson's expert, usually a neurologist or a geriatrician with specific training in movement disorders and ongoing expertise. And then they need to make sure that the signs and symptoms that they elicit are not being able to explain by any other disorder. In a previous program, we talked about the classic symptoms of Parkinson's disease and signs of Parkinson's disease. And Parkinson's disease is a treatable, significantly controllable neurological disorder for a long period of time. So if you do have a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease by a specialist, that's not the end of the world. You can live well with Parkinson's disease, as we now have really high quality, good treatment options to manage symptoms, not only medications but physical therapy and other supportive mechanisms also. So the main idea of today's program is not to get carried away with misinformation or wrong information that is being circulated and shared in social media, saying that you could do this test to diagnose you as having Parkinson's disease or not. This is completely wrong, and there is no scientific evidence whatsoever for that sort of a video to be accepted as correct. The correct way to diagnose Parkinson's disease is by getting you examined by a Parkinson's expert, and there is no other test to diagnose Parkinson's disease, a brain scan or any other special scan otherwise. And early diagnosis of Parkinson's disease is a very hot area of research. I have two young neurologists who are doing PhDs in this field with our group at the moment, but we are nowhere near discovering anything similar to that. We hope during our lifetime we would find that, but certainly there is nothing to be shown on a video clip that we can predict who is going to get Parkinson's disease and who is not. This is completely wrong. I hope this discussion is of use so that you are more aware of correct facts with Parkinson's disease as we continue to go through our journey promoting brain health for all. Take care, stay safe and stay well, and we'll visit you again next week with another segment of brain health for all. Stay safe, stay well.
1, 2, 3, 4. You can dance every dance with a guy who gives you the eye. Let him hold you tight. You can smile every smile for the man who held your hand. Need the pale moonlight. Can you help me out? But don't forget who's taking you home and in whose arms you're gonna be. So darling, say the last thing for me. Ooh, I know that the music's fine like sparkling wine. Go and have your fun, laugh and sing, but while we're apart, don't give your heart to anyone. Together now, but don't forget who's taking you home and in whose arms you're gonna be. So darling, say the last thing for me. Baby, don't you know I love you so? Can't you feel it when we touch? I would never, never let you go, 'cause I love you oh so much. You can dance, go and carry on till the night is gone and it's time to go. But if he asks if you're all alone, can he take you home? You must tell him no. Together, but don't forget who's taking you home and in whose arms you're gonna be. So darling, say the last dance for me. You like the move, Sharon? That's all I can do. Baby, don't you know I love you so? Can't you feel it when we touch? I would never, never let you go, 'cause I love you oh so much. You can dance, go and carry on till the night is gone and it's time to go. But if he asks if you're all alone, can he take you home? You must tell him no. But don't forget who's taking you home and in whose arms you're gonna be. So darling, say the last dance for me. Oh, say the last dance for me. One more time now, say the last dance for me. Hey!
Abacus Solar, latest and reliable solar systems, world best panels and inverters, price beat guarantee, supervised system installation, excellent after sales service. Call 1300 852 843.
Sanji Caldera Associates. With our headquarters based in Melbourne, Australia, you can locate our branch offices in Sri Lanka, Dubai, Canada and London, UK. Some of our services include skilled migration visa, family migration visa, employer sponsorship visa, temporary resident visa, business visa, tourist visa, student visa, administrative appeals tribunal review. Pursuit of excellence through tailored solutions.
The science of life, traditionally known as the Ayurveda. Consultations, diagnosis and treatments are done by fully qualified Ayurvedic practitioner Dr. Sam Dasanai. Sahandro Ayurvedic Centre, best wellness experience.
Sandakada Pahana, Melbourne. A night of Sunil Edrisingha's timeless melodies.
Saturday, the 7th of June 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Robert Blackwood Hall, Clayton.
Looking to buy a new hose reel but confused over quality, and you want to buy a locally made hose reel? Look for the genuine Australian made AK Reels hose reels. Heavy duty Australian design and patent. Using Australian made hoses that last. By AK Reels, the Australian made hose reels.
ඔස්ට්‍රේලියානු රජයේ සංක්‍රමණ නීති වරින් වර විවිධායුරෙන් වෙනස් වෙනවා. ඉතින් මේ නීති රීති ගැන නරඹන ඔබව දැනුවත් කිරීම අපගේ වගකීමක් කියලා මං හිතනවා. මේ මාතෘකාව ගැන කතා කරන්න අපට විශාල කාලයක් අවශ්‍යයි. ඒ ගැන කතා කරන්න සුදුසුම කතානායකයා හැටියට මට විශ්වාස සංජය කල්දේරා ඇසෝසියේටි විධායක අධ්‍යක්ෂ සංජය කල්දේරා මහතාට අපි ආරාධනා කරා. අයිබෝන් සංජය.
අයිබෝන් සුගිතා.
ඇත්තරම මේ අද කතා කරන්න මං කැමැත්තෙන් ඉන්නේ මේ ස්ටුඩන්ට් වීසා ගැන. ඇත්තට අපිට එක එක්කෙනා එක එක විදිය දේවල් කියනවා මේ ස්ටුඩන්ට් වීසා ගැන හරි අවබෝධයක් අපිට ලබා දෙන්න පුළුවන්.
ඔව් මේ ස්ටුඩන්ට් වීසා වල අපි දැනට ලොකු වෙනසක් වෙලා නැහැ. හැබැයි ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලට ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවට එන්න පුළුවන් ලංකාවෙන් ඒක නවත්තලවත් මුකුත් නැහැ. හැබැයි වැදගත්ම දේ තමයි ඉමිග්‍රේෂන් ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එක මේකේ ජෙනුවින්නස් එක ඒ ස්ටුඩන්ට්ගේ ජෙනුවින්නස් ගැන මීට ඉස්සරට වැඩිය සෝදිසි කරනවා. එන්න මේ ජෙනුවින්නස් එක ඇයි මේ පාඨමාලාවක් කරන්න ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවට එන්නේ? මේක ඇයි ලංකාවේ කරන්න බැරි? මේක මේ එඩියුකේෂන් එක ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ මේ අධ්‍යාපනය ලැබලා තමන්ගේ රටට ගේන්න යන්න පුළුවන් වාසි දැනුම මොකද්ද? ඒ යම්කිසි පාඨමාලාවක් කරා නම් ලංකාවට ගිහිල්ලා තියෙන මේ ඔපචුනිටිස් මොකද්ද? ඒ ස්ටඩි කරපුවට ඒ වගේම තමන්ට මේ වියදම් මෙතනට ඇවිල්ලා ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ ඉඳලා මේ ස්ටඩිස් වලට යන වියදම් දරන්න පුළුවන්ද? කාටද මේවා දරන්න පුළුවන්? මෙන්න මේවා ගැන වැඩි සෝදිසියක් තියෙනවා ඉමිග්‍රේෂන් ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එකට. ඉතින් නැත්තම් මේ ස්ටුඩන්ට් වීසා එක ගොඩක්ම ලයිව් යන දෙයක්.
දැන් ඇත්තටම පහුගිය කාලේ කතාවක් තිබුණා මේ ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ගේ කෝස් ෆීස් එක ගැන ලොකු ආందోලනයක් තිබුණා. දැන් කොහොමද ඒක සම්බන්ධව ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස් දැන් යම්කිසි කෙනෙක් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ඉඳලා මෙහෙට එන්න හදනවා නම් කොහොමද ඒ අය ඒවා බලාගන්නේ?
අපේ කාලයත් ගොඩාක්ම අපේ එක්ස්චේන්ජ් රේට් එක ගොඩාක්ම වැඩි වෙලා තිබුණා. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙහෙට ගෙවන්න තියෙන ඒ ස්ටුඩන්ට් ෆීස් ඉතාමත්ම ලංකාවේ සල්ලි වලින් ගොඩාක්ම වැඩි වෙලා තියෙනවා. මොකද එක්ස්චේන්ජ් රේට් එක නිසා. දැන් කාලෙකින් පස්සේ ඒක අඩු වෙගෙන ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. තව දෙයක් තමයි මේ එක්ස්චේන්ජ් කන්ට්‍රෝල් රෙගුලේෂන්ස් නිසා ලංකාවෙන් මේ ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලට overseas remittances කරන්න අමාරු කමක් වෙලා තිනවා. ඒකත් දැන් සෑහෙන දුරට අඩුයි. course fees වල නම් වෙනසක් වෙලා නැහැ. අර මං කිව්වා වගේ immigration department බල දෙයක් තමයි ලොකු බරක් නැතුව මේ education වලට එන students ලට තමන් financially ඒගොල්ලෝ secure කියලා කියන එකත් අපි ඒ ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එක ගොඩක් මේ අවධානයෙන් බලනවා. ඒක අවශ්‍යයි වීසා එකක් ලබා ගන්න.
එතකොට සංජය දැන් යම්කිසි ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ ජීවත් වෙන එක්කෝ ඒ අය පර්මනන්ට් රෙසිඩන්ට් තියෙන නැත්නම් සිටිසන් තියෙන පවුලක කෙනෙකුට පුළුවන් නම් තම පවුලේ කෙනෙක් ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් විදියට ලංකාවෙන් මෙහාට ගෙන්න ගන්න. මොනවද තියෙන මේ පහසුකම් සහ නීති රීති?
ඔව්. මේ රිලේෂන්ස් එකට නෑදෑකමක් තියෙන ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ පර්මනන්ට් රෙසිඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් හරි සිටිසන් කෙනෙක්ට ස්පොන්සර් කරන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් මේ ස්පොන්සර් කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ ඒ ඇප්ලිකන්ට්ගේ ඒ ෆයිනෑන්ෂල් තත්ත්වය බලා ගන්නවා කියන එක තමයි. හැබැයි ඒකට 100% බලා ගන්නවා කියලා මේ පොරොන්දුවක් දෙන්න බෑ. ඒ ඇප්ලිකන්ට් ලංකාවේ තියෙන ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ දෙමාපියන්ගෙන්ද නෑදෑයන්ගෙන්ද එයාගේම සල්ලි 70%ක්වත් අඩුම වශයෙන් පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙහි ඉන්න PR එක තියෙන සිටිසන් තියෙන මේ නෑදෑයාට පුළුවන් අර 30%ක් විතර ස්පොන්සර්ෂිප් එකක් දෙන්න. මම මේ 30%යි 70% ගැන මේ කතා කරන්නේ අර ෂෝ මනි කියන එක. එතකොට අපි මේ වීසා එක ඇප්ලයි කරනකොට කියන්න ඕනේ අපි මේ වීදන් වලට තමන්ගේ වීදන් වල এডুকেෂන් වලට මේවට ඒ කෝස් එක අනුව කොච්චර අවුරුදු ගාන අනුව වෙනස් වෙනවා. එතකොට ඒ වෙනස් වීම ඒ වෙනස් වෙන amount එකට හරියන 70%ක් ෂෝ මනි පෙන්වන්න ඕනේ ලංකාවෙන්. ඒකේ 30%ක් පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන් ළඟ නෑදෑයෙක්ට තමන්ගේ account එකේ සල්ලි තියාගෙන ඒ සල්ලි transfer කරන්න එහෙම අවශ්‍ය නැහැ ඒ ස්ටුඩන්ට්.
මං හිතන්නේ සංජය ඔබ ඉතාමත් ලස්සනට පැහැදිලි කරා මේ ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් ලංකාවෙන් මෙහෙට ගෙන්නනවා නම් ඒ නෑ කෙනෙකුට කරන්න තියෙන ඒ වැඩ කොටස ගැන. ඇත්තරම දැන් තවත් දෙයක් තමයි සමහර අයට යම් කිසි කෙනෙක් අධ්‍යාපනය ලබනවා නම් ඔහුගේ ස්පවුස් විදියට ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්න කෙනෙකුට සමහර අය වැඩ කරනවා බොහොම අඩු කාලයක්. දැන් ඒ අයට කොහොමද ඒක ගැන පොඩ්ඩක් අපිට පැහැදිලි කරන්න පුළුවන්ද ඇයි එහෙම වෙන්නේ කියලා?
ඔව්. දැන් මෙහි ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් කියන කතා කරාම අපිට මේන් ඇප්ලිකන්ට් කෙනෙක් කියලා ඉන්නවා. මේ මේන් ඇප්ලිකන්ට් තමයි ඉගෙනීම හදාරන්නේ. එතකොට එයා ඒ මැරිඩ් මේ පුද්ගලයෙක් නම් එයාගේ ස්පවුසුත් ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවට ඇවිල්ලා නම් තියෙන්නේ වර්ක් රයිට්ස් වල වෙනසක් තියෙනවා. දැන් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක්ට තියෙන්නේ part time තමයි ස්ටඩි කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ. හැබැයි ඒ ස්පවුස්ට ඒ මේන් ඇප්ලිකන්ට් කරන කෝස් එක අනුව තමයි ඒගොල්ලන්ට කොච්චර වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන්ද කිව්වොත් මම උදාහරණයක් ගත්තොත් බැචලර්ස් එකක් හෝ ඊට වැඩිය අඩු කෝස් එකක් අඩු කෝස් එකක් කියන්නේ ඩිප්ලෝමා එකක් හරි ට්‍රේඩ් කෝස් එකක් කරන ඇප්ලිකන්ට් කෙනෙක්ගේ ස්පවුස්ට වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන් සුමානයට පැය 24ක් පමණයි. හැබැයි the main applicant masters එකක් හෝ PhD එකක් වගේ කරන අපාඨමාලාවක් හදාරනවා නම් අන්න ඒ main applicant ගේ ස්පවුස්ට full time වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි තව දෙයක් තමයි මොනම පාඨමාලාවක් හැදෑරුවත් නිවාඩු කාලවල අපි දිනවා යුනිවර්සිටි හොලිඩේස් කාලෙම දැන් මේ ක්‍රිස්මස් කාලේ එහෙම ගොඩක් නිවාඩු හම් වෙනවා. මේ කාලෙදී මේ ඉස්කෝල යුනිවර්සිටිස් වහලා ඒ කාලය ඇතුළත තුල මේන් ඇප්ලිකන්ට්ටත් ෆුල් ටයිම් වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන් අවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවා.
හොඳයි සංජය, අද අපේ ආරාධනය පිළි අරගෙන අද මැදිරියට ඇවිල්ලා සංක්‍රමණ නීති ගැන ඉතාමත් වටිනා අදහස් රාශියක් අපේ ප්‍රේක්ෂකයන් වෙනුවෙන් ඔබ ලබා දුන්නා. මම ඔබට බෙහෙවින්ම ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා. නැවත වරක් අපි දවසක හමු වෙනතුරු අදට සමු දෙනවා.
බොහොම ස්තුතියි සුගත.
අද දවසේ මම සමග කතාබහට එක්ුණේ සංජය කල්දේරා ඇසෝසියේට්ගේ විධායක අධ්‍යක්ෂ සංජය කල්දේරා මහතා. ඔබට යම්කිසි සංක්‍රමණ නීති රීති සම්බන්ධයෙන් ගැටලු ඇතනම් ඒ සඳහා අවශ්‍ය කරුණු දැන ගැනීමට ඕනෑම වෙලාවක ඔබ වෙනුවෙන් මෙම ආයතනයේ කාර්ය මණ්ඩලය නිතැතින්ම සූදානම්. එසේත් නැත්නම් ඔබේ ප්‍රශ්න Sri Lanka Morning Show @gmail.com යන ලිපිනයට යොමු කරමින් ඔබට උදව් කිරීමට පුළුවන්. එසේනම් නැවතත් මෙවැනි වටිනා වැඩසටහනකින් හමුවෙමු.
There's no better place on earth than you. Yeah, I dream of you, Sri Lanka. Yeah. lamps on you.